He goes through the motions, giving every impression of having settled into life in Nyeri town. But Anthony Mathenge knows only too well how fragile the life he has built is. He lost everything once before, in the post-election violence of 2007. Mathenge was living in Kisumu, running an electronics shop, when the violence erupted, causing him and others to flee to safety.
We had to make a very hard way, all the way from Kisumu, Pasahero, to Kisii, where we camped for a whole week. The army gave us security from Kisii to Mai Mahiu.
And so, after 14 years away, the businessman came home empty-handed.
I literally lost everything else I had, apart from a HDV camera that I used. The one I was using, that's the only thing I got from my home and my shop.
He has managed to start over, but this is a pale shadow of the thriving business Anthony once ran, and the recent pronouncements by politicians have reopened old wounds. Pronouncements that remind Anthony and other integrated internally displaced persons of old promises made anew.
Wale ambao wamebaki wachache ambao walikuwa integrated walienda kuishi na wengine kwa sababu ya kuhakikisha ya kwamba haki imefanyika. Tutahakikisha tumewashughulikia ndio hawa pia waweze kuendelea na maisha yao.
Shining a spotlight on the IDP resettlement and compensation program that has stoked controversy once again following the termination of the case against Deputy President William Ruto and Joshua Arap Sang. Figures from the National Consultative Coordination Committee on IDPs show that just over 245,000 families were registered as IDPs after the chaos in 2008. Of these, 170,000 received 10,000 shillings each while in the camps. 90,000 displaced families, which quickly moved out of the camps and into the homes of friends and family members, would make do with the initial sum of 10,000 shillings each. When the government launched Operation RUDI NYUMBANI, 78,000 more families were ferried back home and given an additional 25,000 shillings each to put their lives back together. 8,700 other families were resettled on land purchased by the government, after which the government resolved to give IDPs money to purchase their own land. 19,500 families benefited from this, receiving sums between 200 and 400,000 shillings each. And with 17 billion shillings already spent on resettling the displaced, the government now admitting that 80,000 households comprising persons who did not stay long in the camps, like Anthony, are yet to receive a cent. Following the President's directive, the committee now turning its attention to the integrated IDPs, some of whom hailed from Western Kenya and Nyanza, where there were no camps. Almost a decade later, even with 78 IDP camps closed, a section of the displaced still waiting for compensation. Wilkis Anyabwa, Monday Special.